So it is the end of the ancient era of Chinese history and world history for that matter. Beginning of the classical era, which in Chinese history is marked with the victory of Shao Kang over the Zhirong, which you just witnessed here. Shao Kang, so one of his ancestors had been kidnapped in the earlier Battle of Dongyi, where the Zhirong sent down their reinforcements to help out the Dongyi. Shao Kang was actually his grandfather, right? And then, so Shao Kang was the local leader in Chengdu. And as you can see, he's begun to fortify his border, but it's also notable for sending a military expedition to the north to try to deal with the Zhirong once and for all, which is the battle that you just saw. Their leaders did attempt to flee, but they were not successful. Anyway, I think I may as well just go straight into the gameplay mode, because it's literally the same turn. We got a golden age because basically I built the Great Wall just to get the points. So we got there in the end. If I didn't do that, I think we would have been 1 point short. Yeah, we would have been 1 point short. So I did that, and then I saved the barbarian camp for this turn specifically to make sure I get the timing correct. We'll talk about our cities. So Fangkao, it's an okay. We got a Haboob dust storm, which made this tile a 3/3 tile, which really saved it because it was a really bad city. Well, not really bad, but like a poor starting location, and like we're so close to Korea here. Most of this was a -1. Everything closer was like -10, 20. So that wasn't looking too good. And then I discovered, I was like, oh, you can settle over here. And then like Egypt. So I don't think anyone's gonna settle in here either, because there's 2 civs providing, I guess, negativity. Like if Korea settles it, they're gonna have like China and Egypt. If Egypt settles it, it's gonna be China and Korea. And if we settle it, it's gonna be Egypt and Korea. So it's going to be interesting what happens in here, because the land's really, really good. Anyway, we've settled Jimo. Jimo is going to be a Petra city, because the Eye of Sahara is right here. And so Petra plus a 3-tile desert wonder would be really, really good. Unfortunately, I have not found where Petra will be. I guess it's going to be up here somewhere, but we will find out. I'm really hoping it's not one of these top ones, because I don't have to go through archery. At least I don't have to go through astrology to get it. To get the bonus, I need 3 districts. Our campus is going to be our first district over here. Harbor is kind of out of the way, but we don't have too many options. I might just take the hit and go for it, because it's gonna be like all of these tiles are gonna be amazing. We're trying to befriend Granada as well, so if we can do that, so we can unlock the Alcazars and then spam Alcazars in Jimo. Alcazars are actually, I should check that. Great Wall or Alcazars are going to wind up being better. Great Wall is tourism from culture, plus 2 culture from each adjacent Great Wall tile requires castles. So that would be like, this would be a +4, this would be a +2, this would be a +2. So mostly would be getting 4s with that. The Alcazar, I think it's just going to be a generic 2, right? Yeah, +2 culture, tourism from, yeah. Okay, so the Great Wall is better from a tourism and culture perspective, but the Alcazar is better for science. So what I'll probably do is build the Alcazars first, and then potentially build the Great Walls after. Or build the Great Wall on the tiles that I can't really build. So like, even though there's a pasture here, I had to build it to try and get this city going, like, really badly. So like, this tile would be 2 science, so I'd prefer to build an Alcazar on it. But like, these tiles with no appeal, I would prefer to build Great Wall improvements. But we'll see how that plays out. We're a little behind. Oh, it's actually not as bad. Korea went to war with someone else. France. So they're at about 200 military strength for a while. And I was getting, because I had this city down, I was getting a bit like, oh, it's not good. But I feel like we're safe. So we're hunting for Petra in the tech tree. I don't think that any other wonders are going to be really useful. We can't build the Hanging Gardens because we have no rivers unless we take out Granada. We couldn't build the Great Bath. We can't build the Temple of Artemis because it requires a camp. We could build Stonehenge. It's quite out of the way. We could build the Great Lighthouse eventually. I know Petra's in here. I forget what else. Oracle could be handy. I don't really know where I want to put it. And I'm kind of surprised it hasn't gone already. This might end up being a good Colosseum game, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I'll put it in here somewhere. Like, oh, this is actually also, I realized after I put the city down. So I had to put the city here because it was the only place with housing that wasn't going to basically loyalty flip straight away. It was like this tile, and then the next 2 tiles away were like -10s. And I had to put it down because I didn't want Korea to get a city beforehand. But like, I can put a canal here, and I can actually build a Panama here. And I might actually have potentially the only time ever, a potentially usable Panama Canal system. Maybe. So that's exciting, right? I have to kill 2 desert tiles for it in my Petra city, but you know, them's the break sometimes. What else? Yeah, so if I go Oracle, my issue is I'm not sure where. Like, maybe it would go here, and we would go. So this is campus. It's +2 from the reefs. Campus is +1 from rivers, +1 from reef, and +1 from geothermals, and that's it in this mod. Oh, it's standard from districts. So like, this is a +2. So like, +2 campuses are really good. +1 is good. Yeah, so we'll build a harbor here. I could. Oh, actually, I should build it there. Hey. By this tile and build Oracle there, and then I can build Theatre Square on the desert tile. Yeah, and then I'll get some good seaside resort tiles as well, potentially. Yeah, that seems good. That seems like the most logical place. Also, I have Liang. I have lots of things that I want to do, but I don't know how many of those things I should do. I guess is what I'm saying. If we get a scientist, we get the. Oh wow, okay. 3.4, 2, 3. Have any of these already gone? Yes. Geez. Okay, 2 have gone. Everyone's going science. Okay. That's problematic. I was thinking about grabbing that. We might just never be able to get it. Okay, that's fine. It's good that the AI is going science. Yeah, so that's sort of the, I guess, the tech tree. The Civics tree is looking... So maybe I build Oracle to get this boosted. I'm going to get this when I get the campus. Craftsmanship only leads to 1, so I haven't bothered with it for like the military situation. I won't lie, it does bother me. It does bother me. What else? Yeah, so we got Liang just because I'm China to get the +1 build charge, so then it's 75% of a wonder with 1 builder. Pretty good. Don't think there's... Oh, religion. We got one of the last pantheons, so we have +1 production from fishing boats, which is not too bad, which is why I bought this tile. Because it's going to be quite valuable in the long run. And then we've got +1 on these tiles, we're going to have +1 here. If at some point we flip a city in here, we'll get more. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, not quite. Not sure where my government plaza... So if this is a Petra city, I don't really want a government plaza in here, because Petra's going to boost like all of the desert tiles. So I want to just grow that city essentially. So I'm not sure where my government city is going to be. I think there'll be an aqueduct city in here, which maybe we'll try to get the Colosseum in. Be a bit of a stretch, but we'll find out. Because I have to build the district for that one. The district and the arena, which would be the slow part of building one in here. But if I do get it, pretty much every city is going to get all the benefits. Anyway, I think that's enough talking. Maybe we look at this. So 6 and 7.3, 6 and 4.3. Cool, that is fine. Culture, we've got a 24 already. We're not doing too well. I held off monuments for a long time. A lot more than usual, because when I realized I had all this space, I felt like I needed more military. I still feel like I need more military, but that's kind of the game. I might just keep like an eye, like a unit on these hills, just to see if they send any units up. Sort of as an early warning system. So we're in a golden age, Egypt's in a golden age, Korea's in a normal age, everyone else is normal. Okay. What I was thinking was monumentality, because builders will be cheaper with gold. I could go free inquiry, so I don't have any campuses down, so this is kind of eh. Free inquiry, so it's not what... I haven't updated the text for this. So it's actually, I believe, 15 terms of science. Like my last 15 terms of science, I get for free. So if there's a tech that's got 15, which there is not, but like 4 plus 11, I could get horseback riding. Approximately. It's based on the last 15 turns of your science. You get it for free, like, now. Right? So it's a one-off boost. So it's designed to get you, like, a free tech. I think I'm better off going for the monumentality, because I have a lot of improvements to build. I have wonders to get, which is workers as well, and I have a lot of gold income, because apparently the Great Wall gets you gold. So I'm going to pick monumentality, and I'm going to be buying all these builders with gold. So confirm that. Cool. That's my turn. We will check in again for gameplay. I'll talk about gameplay again at the end of the classical era, beginning of the medieval era. And who knows, maybe our dear leader Shao Kahn has more things to do. I suspect he won't. That's actually why I've not got the turn timer and the what year it is. Because if I show you the year, so like that battle before, like in Civ terms, it's like, oh, it just took like 200 years. But if I hide the year, then it's more like, oh, it's actually happening all at once, kind of thing. That's like the only thing I dislike about just the general design of Civ. I like everything else. Like if you looked at Civ's like core concepts that just won't ever be changed, like you can't change a mechanic like that. Anyway, that'll be enough from me. So we are in the early stages of the classical era, and this is known as the Warring States period in Chinese history. Basically, the 3 cities and Granada, actually, so the 4 cities, were all vying for supremacy at this time. You will notice, so King Dao, formerly Jimu. So King Dao, so the Granadans actually expanded their influence into King Dao in the early stages of the warring period and changed its name. And you can see their influence with, here we've got an Alcazar next to the city. So likewise, the people of Jimu built their own Alcazars. The Jimu Alcazars actually had to replace, unfortunately, the sheep, but that is fine. So that's how King Dao got its new name. So this is obviously the Warring States period, a time of immense turmoil. You can see there's currently unrest in Qingdao and in Chengdu. It also resulted in the renaming of the capital, so no longer Fengkao, is now Zhongzhou. So the reason for this is going to be explained with the reign and the time of Qin Shi Huang. King Shi Huang was actually born a Chinese, so he's like native Han Chinese, born in Qingdao while it was under suzerainty of Granada. He rose to prominence and rebelled against the Granadans successfully, and then went on a military campaign. Just trying to reorganize that. Went on a military campaign, managed to conquer Zhongzhou, and he renamed Zhongzhou as a result. He did this by gathering intelligence about where the Zhongzhou military was sort of like at, managed to sneak around them, captured the city, which meant that he had the fortress and the Zhongzhou army was in the rural areas. And eventually, by capturing the city, he cut off the food supply, the crabs, which you can see here, the main food supply of the area. They did have the iron mines up here, but the Zhongzhou military eventually surrendered to King Shi Huang. And then Chengdu was taken when there was a drought, and the Chengdu people were facing starvation, so he offered them food in exchange for loyalty to his empire, and they accepted. And so Qin Shi Huang managed to begin. He also copied the fortifications from Chengdu, from whichever predecessor that was. I want to say it was Shao Kang, who many generations before started the Great Wall of Chengdu. He copied it and put that in Qingdao. So, to commemorate King Shi Huang's reign, he built a temple for himself in the middle of a desert known as Petra. Petra is located just outside the modern-day city of Qingdao, as you can see. And we can make it look pretty if we do that. So next to... That's a pretty good Petra. It's next to the Eye of the Sahara. And an Alcazar. And then we've got the city in the background, another Alcazar. And we've got the Great Wall of China. Yes, I'm quite happy with myself. I wish... Oh, actually I can hide the text too. There's a setting for that. Let's hide map labels onto this. There we go. Sorry, I'm just like, oh, that's actually quite nice. You know, maybe I should have turned. I think the graphics are at max. I'll have to check that. Anyway, that is King Shi Huang completing Petra and turning Qingdao into. Sorry, I just looked at this tile. 2 food, 2 production, 2 gold, 3 science, and 2 culture. Like, for context, like 14 science per turn, because I've nerfed science, so like whatever yields you're used to, just don't imagine like 14. Oh, what's science? Yeah, like 17. It's, well, you know, so getting 3 from 1 tile is quite massive. So we're now halfway into the classical era, and we have the founding of Ho City. Ho City, which you can see with the mouse. I'm pretty sure the mouse shows up. So Ho City was founded. Its founder basically named the city after himself, after Ho Chang. So originally, this was intended to be a garrison point. This part of history, the city-state of Granada was less friendly towards the Chinese. So Hao Chang established a garrison at Hao City. He also, part of his reasoning was to invest in a new technology, which we can see here. The first Chinese aqueduct beginning to be built. It was also a notable city location due to the this one is silk. This is also 2 different. I think one of these is spices and one of these is silk. From memory, yes, spices and silk. Anyway, that is the founding of our city. Still in the middle of the classical era, we have the city of Jingyang popping up here around this the Jin Inlet, which you can see. Jingyang, so the Dongyi ancestral homeland was obviously over here. Jinyang, so the Dongyi name for themselves was Jin. So at this stage in history, the Chinese had befriended the Dongyi, and eventually this caused the settlement of Jinyang, named after the Jin people, who were formerly the Dongyi. Dongyi would go down sort of as like a barbarian, racist taunt in history, but here we've got the city of Jinyang. As you can see, so plentiful sources of wheat, there's copper. It's also not too far from whatever it is, Zhongzhang or something, Zhongzhou. So I check my notes. That's why I normally have the city names up, so I don't have to do that. You can see the port being built as well for the port of Jinyang. Just a quick little what is going on in the world. The Korean capital of Gwangju has been captured by the Egyptians under their famous general Hamilcar Barca. I think it will rebel back, but they're also at war with France. So France is like this one catapult, but Egypt's taken the opportunity to really give Korea a beating. See, Korea's got, I've seen a few units around, so this will flip back to them, but it's just a sort of interesting side note as to what is going on in the game. Towards the end of the classical era now, we have the city of Jicheng being founded. Jicheng was founded just to be another provincial sort of capital area, like regional administrative area. Jicheng, so you can see, is also on the Gulf of Tonkin, established to administer the orange, the citrus trade through the Gulf of Tonkin, and then back to the nominal capital and all the other Chinese cities, except Chengdu, which is still kind of just hanging out there by itself. But yeah, so next to the Jicheng forest, and just to the south of the tundra regions, where the Rongzi were established earlier in the game. So it is the time of Empress Hexi. So Empress Hexi, as you can see, built the Jebel Bakal. This was part of her overarching policy of generally supporting both the arts and supporting the sciences as well as this particular, so it was a palace temple sort of complex. It was built with the idea, so much like the Alcazars and Petra beforehand, this was structurally, from an engineering perspective, an evolution of those designs. And we might look at it without the borders. There we are. So it built sort of in between three major, well, four Chinese cities, really. So Hexi, so patron of the arts and technology, was also noted for, around this time, the Wangzaobang River was known to have flooded, potentially as a result of the aqueduct, but some more modernized this aqueduct to ensure there would be less floods on the river. And finally, yeah, so the Empress was sort of there at what I would describe a loosening of, basically the empire wasn't as strict when it came to enforcing particular views and things. People were more free. People had more freedom of thought, I should say, during her reign. And this would have consequences in the future for the Chinese Empire.